Hello, my name is Lucila Perez, and the theme I have chosen to develop in this presentation is social injustice in the school environment in the story 11, the short film Sing, and the movie Freedom Writers. First, I would like to start the analysis with a question. Have you ever thought about the fact that everyone at some point of our lives experienced social injustice or has been part of an unfair situation happening to somebody else? Well, school is a very common place for those situations to happen. The theme I have chosen is truly covered by these three stories, but first I would like to start the analysis with 11 by Sandra Cisneros. Well, what is this story about? The story is about a girl named Rachel who's turning 11 and her birthday had been ruined by her teacher because she forced her to be responsible of someone's ugly red sweater. When she does that, she bursts into tears as she wishes she was older. The teacher doesn't pay attention to her or her emotional breakdown. In the story, she states that when you're 11, you're also your previous ages. Well, we see this social injustice in the school environment when, for example, the teacher forces Rachel to put on a sweater. The teacher here is a superior figure with power. She doesn't pay attention to Rachel, even though she denies being the owner of this ugly sweater. Then we also see that when growing up, children are still under the control of adults, even when an uncomfortable situation is happening. And well, Rachel wishes that she was older to manage the situation like an adult and not crying in front of everybody as she was 3, as she says in the story. Moving on, we've got the second story, which is Freedom Writers and Movie. What is this story about? Well, the story is about Erin, a young woman with a new teaching job, and she wants to start teaching in a school that implemented a voluntary integration program. The teachers there believed that this integration program had ruined the school because many of the students are members of the gang. But Erin chose it just because of it. Well, although she's unprepared to manage the group she's assigned to, she shows them that justice is possible for them. Teaching was hard for her until she started a chat about the reason shooting. Thanks to that, she assigns a writing daily journal for her students to write their thoughts. And thanks to this, her students started opening up to her emotionally and to trust her, basically. Now we see the social injustice in the school environment in freedom writers that it is just a lot to comment on. First, we've got the social division, for example. It is shown the idea of racial segregation, gang mentally, and white privilege. The students didn't trust Erin because they expected her to have cultural stereotypes due to being white and a woman and being new. It is also shown that she had a pearl necklace that shows that she's from a wealthy family, etc. Well, but when she manages to teach the Holocaust by comparing a racist drawing found in class and Hitler's action towards the Jewish with the gang actions against each other, they start paying attention to her and to trust her. In the school, the teachers didn't see a future for these students. And even though they had to deal with social injustice outside school in their private lives, this is also a form of discrimination, right? In the middle part of the movie, they read Anne Frank diary, and in the story, they could also relate to Anne Frank's hard situation to the one they were living. And they also got to meet Mia, the lady who sheltered Anne Frank and her family from the German soldiers. And this changed their perspective. Finally, we go to Sing, which is the last short film I chose. And it is about a girl named Sophie, who is excited to attend her new school and its choir. She immediately connects with Lisa, the star singer of the choir, but when Sophie starts rehearsal, she's told only to mime and not to sing because the teacher says that she's not good enough uh, for being part of the choir. When Lisa finds out about this secret, she doesn't stay quiet. And she also realizes that many members of the choir are not allowed to sing aloud in competitions and rehearsals. So the whole choir starts plotting a revenge behind the teacher's back for a later event. When the day of the event arrives, none of them sing, the only man, making the teacher furious. And when the teacher is gone, they finally sing aloud, everybody. This sing and Mindeki, that the literal translation is everybody, that make a clear reference to what is happening right here. Well, we're going to see the social injustice in the school environment in sync. First, we've got the teacher, that it is a symbol of power and superiority, again, as 11. Well, the children fear the consequences of disobeying the teacher's rule. And due to the peer pressure created in the choir, they have to conform with this unfair situation in order to stay in the choir, to be part of it. And then we've got the adults and responsibilities. The adults are important in creating an, an environment, a comfortable environment for children to interact. In this story, the teacher, for example, is doing exactly the opposite. She is creating an awkward and hard environment for children. Uh, they are not having a good time being part of the choir, but other adults, like Zoe's mom, for example, she could have helped to change this hard situation if she knew about it. I would like to share two of the similarities between the story, which are truly interesting in my opinion. First, the teacher. In all stories, the teacher is a symbol of power and superiority, and the one initiating the social injustice at school. For example, in the stories 11 and Sing, uh, the students are the ones to stand up for what is right uh, and to fight for it, but in freedom writers, the teacher is the one initiating the change. Then we got the adults. The adults seem careless about the young people's situation, which is just so sad for it. And, well, three standing for what is right. In Freedom Writers, Ellie says at the beginning of the movie that she decided to be a teacher instead of being a lawyer because she preferred to fight for students' education in the classroom instead of fighting for his or her for him or her in a court. And I just think that is just so powerful, so powerful. This fragment is just not about social injustice, but what others should think or do in order to avoid this kind of situation in which young people have to survive most of their time because they spend most of their time in school, right? Well, I would like to share a quote that I liked a lot of 11 that says, I wish I was invisible, but I'm not. I'm 11 and it is my birthday today, and I'm crying like I'm in front of everybody. This quote is closely related to what I said before about when the teacher is the initiator of an uncomfortable situation of social injustice and the students is not being listened. Here, Rachel is forced to put on the sweater and she cannot hold her emotions anymore and she bursts into tears. Uh, well, she says that she wanted to be anything but 11 because she states that when you turn 11, you're also your previous ages. It is just so important, truly important lesson, I believe. That leads us to the conclusion of this presentation. And well, the theme chosen is unfortunately related to real life situations in which young people have to deal with social injustice in school, where they have to be present every day, most of their lives, and also have to choose whether to conform with the unfair situation or stand up for what is right, even though when the teacher might not listen. Here are the sources, and that should be all. Yes. Thank you for listening to my presentation. I hope you found it interesting, and goodbye.